I'm Logan Hunter. Welcome to Brutal Nature Unleashed, where survival has no script. Today, we don't just set foot on a land. We step into a frozen battlefield where the wind can tear flesh apart, and every step might be your last. Welcome to the frozen wild, a place where predators don't need to roar or spill blood to prove they exist. Sometimes a single glance is enough to silence an entire forest. High on untouched peaks, through forests buried in ice, and under skies so cold the sound seems frozen in midair. Every creature fights not for glory, but for breath. There are no rules here, no boundaries. Only one law remains: adapt faster or perish. Picture a creature that can vanish into eternal snow, that climbs sheer cliffs without leaving a trace. That's the snow leopard, a phantom in a world of ice and stone. It doesn't hunt with speed or fight with brute strength. Its real weapon is ruthless patience. Day after day, it waits from the heights, watching for one wrong step from its prey, just one. And in that single moment, it launches, like a feathered spear with claws. It doesn't roar like a lion. It doesn't hunt in packs like wolves. But when it strikes, everything ends in silence. Not because it's faster, but because it's never seen first. The snow leopard lives where mistakes are fatal, at altitudes above 10,000 feet, where the air is thin, the cold is steel, and the rocks are as sharp as blades. Not every predator can survive here, but this one does. Its tail, long as silk, isn't just for balance on steep cliffs. It's also a blanket to warm its face at night. Its fur-covered paws do more than muffle its steps. They erase its presence. No sound, no tracks, no warning. It doesn't need to hunt every day. One perfect strike is enough to feed for a week. For this predator, survival doesn't come from how many times it attacks, but from knowing the exact moment no one sees coming. It is not big, it is not fearsome like a bear, but if you've ever seen a wolverine charge into a kill site and steal meat from the jaws of something twice its size, you'll understand. This is no ordinary creature. The wolverine does not back down. It lives by primal instinct, where blood, snow, and sheer willpower become one. It doesn't need to win every fight. It just never retreats. Even when wounded, even when cornered, it charges forward, not for glory, but for one belief: no one forces me to yield. In a world where size rules, the wolverine rules through resilience. It's not the strongest, but it's the one you cannot break. If you think a small animal avoids conflict, you've never met a wolverine. Barely 3 feet long, weighing less than 40 pounds. But when backed against a wall, it can bring down a full-grown wolf. Its coat isn't just thick, it's water-resistant. Even after tumbling through snow or crossing glacial rivers, its body retains heat. Few predators dare drag a caribou carcass from beneath a grizzly's claws, but the wolverine does. Not because it's reckless, but because it knows if it doesn't eat, it dies. The bear might miss a meal. The wolverine cannot afford to. It doesn't live to impress. It lives because backing down is not an option. And in the frozen wild, refusing to retreat means moving forward. No predator is more organized than the gray wolf. In a world where everything melts under pressure, wolves don't scatter, they unite. They don't attack in chaos. They hunt with formation, like a silent battalion. One corners the prey, one cuts off the escape, one delivers the kill, swift, clean, without hesitation. They don't survive on individual strength, but on the cohesion of the pack. not out of emotion, but survival. When winter tightens its grip and food becomes blood, every wolf pack turns into a cold, merciless unit. To them, the enemy isn't just the prey, it's anything standing between hunger and life. Don't judge the pack by one wolf, because wolves never hunt alone, unless by choice. They don't pick the strongest prey, they target the weakest link. And when the prey begins to tire, that's when the real hunt begins. Their double-layered fur traps warmth in -30 degrees. Their broad paws spread like snowshoes. No sinking, no slipping. But their real weapon is coordination. A tilted head, a distant howl, a sudden turn, no warning, and the prey is cut off from the herd. In nature, strength sometimes loses. Intelligence survives. But wolves, they are smart, tireless, and many. And in a pack, weakness is not allowed. It doesn't growl, it doesn't chase, it watches and waits. The lynx lives in a world where even the wind is buried beneath the snow, where the snap of a single twig is enough to send prey running. And it knows, no mistake can be allowed to escape into the air. Its upright ears, tipped with black tufts, don't just listen. They detect every movement in silence. One leap, 3 times the length of its own body. One strike, no need for a second. No footprints, no sound, no mercy for a careless step. Here there's only one outcome: die on the first strike, or disappear forever. When night falls on frozen lands, prey animals think the worst is over. But that's when the real hunter awakens. The great horned owl doesn't fly like other birds. It glides silently. Its wings make no sound. No warning, no escape. Each wing beat is a silent nightmare. With talons that clamp like industrial pliers, it can lift a fat weasel into the dark without a trace. But its most terrifying trait isn't strength, it's invisibility. This hunter can vanish into the trees, waiting for hours, only to strike in a single blink. It doesn't need a nest, doesn't need to build. It simply takes, quietly, completely, like darkness swallowing light. This is not a story of who is stronger or who is faster. It's about those who never stop adapting. When the mountains rise higher, they climb better. When the ice thickens, they dig deeper. When darkness swallows all signs of life, they learn to hear a heartbeat from across the trees. In this world, even the smallest mistake, a slip, a breath too soon, can mean extinction. These creatures are not glorious kings. They are silent warriors. And what defines a ruler here is not the blood spilled, but the ability to survive one more winter than the last. Living in the wild doesn't mean you never get hurt. It means knowing how to live with wounds. A bear missing an ear still digs a den into frozen ground. A lynx with a broken claw still brings down a rabbit with a lopsided strike. These creatures don't survive because they're flawless. They survive because they don't stop when they're broken. They don't go to hospitals. They don't heal the way we do. They simply learn to use what's left and turn weakness into a new path forward. In our world, we can step back when we fall apart. But here, breaking doesn't mean losing. As long as there's breath, they keep fighting. And sometimes that is true strength. Never assume that prey means weakness. A mountain goat can slam a snow leopard off a cliff. A moose can kill a wolf with one precise kick. In this land, life itself becomes a weapon, and fear doesn't always come from fangs. Many predators have died from one misread glare. One misplaced step, one startled moment. Nature doesn't teach you to be a victim. Nature teaches one thing only. If you don't fight back, you don't exist. Here, even the hunted are allowed to rise. And sometimes the final blow comes from the last place you'd expect. There are no cheers, no stadiums, only falling snow, howling wind, and blood staining the ice. A wolf clashes with a bear. A single howl is answered by a thunderous roar. No one's watching, but every living thing within miles goes quiet. Here, every encounter is raw and real. There's no stage, no honor, only hunger, cold, and the survival instinct pushing every creature to its final edge. They don't fight to be admired. They fight to see the next sunrise. You can learn skill, you can sharpen instinct, but there's one thing you cannot be taught: endurance, not just to survive, but to evolve, to endure the cold without stepping back, to endure the pain without screaming, to endure isolation, being hunted, starvation, and still rise as if you never fell. That is why these creatures have survived for millions of years, not because they are the strongest, but because they refuse to disappear. When you look into the eyes of a snow leopard, when you listen to the wind whisper through the forest where an owl waits, you don't just witness nature, you see a reflection of yourself in its harshest form. We're all surviving, just in a different world. You don't need claws to be a warrior. Sometimes just standing back up after your own winter. That's a battle even nature respects. Remember, nature doesn't care who is man or beast. It only honors those who will not surrender. Thank you for joining Brutal Nature Unleashed. If you were moved by the resilience of these creatures, share this video, hit like, and subscribe to explore more of the untamed world with us. Until next time, we'll meet again where even the ice must bow to the will to survive.